Suspected Chinese spies tried to infiltrate U.S. military bases in Alaska. Tiananmen Massacre victims' mothers, the CCP must be held accountable. This injustice cannot be ignored. China intercepted U.S. military plane in South China Sea but accuses U.S. of dangerous provocation. June 4th Memorial Day is near, Tiananmen tightly controlled. Visitors must pass 3 checkpoints.
In recent years, Chinese citizens suspected of being spies have made multiple efforts to infiltrate military facilities in Alaska, where many sensitive bases are located. According to USA Today, an incident occurred at Fort Wainwright in Fairbanks, where a vehicle carrying Chinese citizens disregarded a security checkpoint. The vehicle was intercepted, and a search revealed the presence of a drone inside. The individuals in the vehicle claimed to be lost tourists. According to U.S. officials, many incidents are unintentional mistakes from foreign visitors, primarily interested in witnessing the Northern Lights and exploring other attractions in Alaska. However, it appears that in some instances these are foreign spies, disguised as tourists, trying to access U.S. military bases to gather information about the military capabilities in Alaska. Kathleen Hicks, the Deputy Secretary of Defense at the Pentagon, did not comment on the alleged Chinese espionage activities at military installations in Alaska. Instead, she mentioned that the military is implementing various measures to ensure the security of these bases, but did not provide specific details. Military experts said that taking pictures of military bases was not the intent. Spies could leave sensors there to pick up sensitive information. Alaska hosts 3 big U.S. military bases. The state also plays a critical homeland defense role for the U.S. military due to its proximity to Russia, the ballistic missile threat posed by North Korea, and the growing concerns about the Chinese regime. Alaska is the home base for the Air Force's top fighter jets, F-22s and F-35s. In addition, approximately 12,000 soldiers and 10,000 active-duty Air Force personnel are also stationed in Alaska. In January, a Chinese spy balloon with advanced sensors breached U.S. airspace above Alaska's Aleutian Islands. The incident caused widespread public reaction as the balloon traversed across the continent and maneuvered above critical military locations before being intercepted and destroyed off the coast of South Carolina. In 2019, a Chinese student was sentenced to a year in prison for illegally taking photos at Naval Air Station Key West in Florida. The 34th anniversary of the Tiananmen Massacre, which once shocked the world, is approaching. Currently, 71 members of the Tiananmen Mothers, an organization founded by the families of the Tiananmen Massacre victims, have passed away in despair, being unable to claim justice for their loved ones. Those still alive continue to pursue the 3 demands they made over 20 years ago: truth, compensation, and accountability. The 116 members left vowed that, although they have not seen any hope, they will not give up the path of seeking justice. According to RFA, the Tiananmen Mothers posted their memorials online, as usual, every year. They said that although many victims' family members have passed away, their last wishes are to seek justice. However, the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP, has always taken measures to control information related to the June 4th tragedy, trying to erase people's memories of the bloody crackdown. On June 4th, 1989, Liu Yongyang, the husband of a member named Zhang Jingli, went to Tiananmen Square alone and was shot dead when he was only 26 years old, leaving behind his wife and 1-year-old son. In the past 34 years, Zhang Jingli spoke on the Tiananmen Mothers Facebook page to represent the victims. She said, "During the long 30 years, I've endured difficulties in life, but I have no place to complain about the pain in my heart, and the emotional pain has always been with me. Why did the government have to send soldiers fully equipped with live ammunition and tanks to shoot at students and unarmed citizens on the streets of Beijing and Tiananmen Square?" Tiananmen Mothers spokeswoman You Weijie said, "We must say we sincerely want to have a dialogue with the government. However, the government has been evading its responsibility for that year's tragedy. Unfortunately, many people couldn't wait until the day when the government came to each family to take responsibility. A member who passed away told us that we must persevere. We cannot give up on this matter. She added, "The current government may think they have nothing to do with the massacre back then. But what I want to say is the ruling party is still the CCP, and the current government must bear full responsibility and tell everyone clearly what happened that day." Zhang Xianling, one of the founders of the Tiananmen Mothers campaign, told VOA, "As a national criminal offense, the state has used the army to kill ordinary people. It not only disregards human life, but also commits a criminal offense. The third demand of the campaign is to criminally prosecute the people involved." Zhang said, "Whoever was the instigator should take responsibility for what they did. It has been a long time since the Second World War, and Nazi crimes are still being investigated. So are the CCP's crimes." The 9 Commentaries on the Chinese Communist Party book states that the CCP's logic in defense of its Tiananmen Massacre on June 4th in 1989 is exactly the same as that of the criminal. The CCP has argued that the suppression of students avoided a potential internal disorder in China. In order to prevent internal disorder, the suppression of students was thus justified. In the issue of the Tiananmen Massacre, the CCP and its cohort did not reflect on whether it was guilty of killing. Instead, they asked society which is better, suppression of students or internal disorder that may lead to civil war. The book also states, "The CCP is in control of the entire state machine and all means of propaganda. In other words, the 1.3 billion Chinese people are held hostage by the CCP. With the 1.3 billion hostages in hand, the CCP can always argue its hostage theory, that if it does not suppress a certain group of people, the whole nation will be in turmoil or disaster. Using this as an excuse, the CCP would suppress any individual or group at will, and its suppression could always be justified."
A video taken on May 26th shows a CCP's military fighter jet passing right before a U.S. Air Force plane's nose over the South China Sea. The U.S. military said this incident occurred between Chinese J-16 fighter jet and the U.S. RC-135. The American plane shook violently while dodging the provocative action of the Chinese fighter. On May 30th, the Pentagon issued a statement condemning the behavior of the Chinese aircraft, calling the behavior of the CCP's military an unnecessarily aggressive maneuver. China's regime claims sovereignty over most of the South China Sea. Meanwhile, Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, and many other countries also claim parts of the sea and islands in the waters, directly contradicting Beijing's claims. China's regime has repeatedly harassed and intercepted aircraft and ships of other countries, especially the United States, in the South China Sea. Responding to the U.S. military statement on the 30th, China Ministry Mao Ning said in a daily briefing on May 31st that China's regime would continue to take necessary measures to defend its sovereignty. AP cited Mao saying the U.S. should immediately stop these dangerous provocations. In the statement on May 30th, the Pentagon said the United States will continue to fly, sail, and operate safely and responsibly wherever international law allows. There are only a few days left until the 34th anniversary of the Tiananmen Massacre on June 4th, 1989 in Beijing, China. Since June 4th is an extremely sensitive day to the Chinese government, the security control around Tiananmen Square has been upgraded. The video shows that to enter Tiananmen Square, visitors must pass at least 3 checkpoints. Number 1, swipe the ID card to register. Number 2, verify the ID card. And number 3, pass the police guard inspection. According to the government's regulations, before entering Tiananmen Square, visitors must also make a reservation online and then go through security checks. Xiwan Zhizhang cited a visitor posting on Weibo describing his experience while traveling to Tiananmen Square and other places in Beijing as follows. "How is this tourism? It's a real pain. In crowded Beijing, when I entered Tiananmen Square, I only remember going through countless security checks and body searches. I really want to say it's not easy for ordinary people. Is it that difficult to visit your capital? It's hard to say I love Beijing. I finally went to the Summer Palace and it felt great, but it was dark and I couldn't see anything. Today I'm almost exhausted from walking, taking the subway, taking the bus. You can travel anywhere, just don't go to Beijing, especially don't go as a group."